So I've been a type of person that appreciates signs. I've also been the type of person in life where I've missed signs, and I've gone to a point in my life where I'm extremely observant and aware of signs that are given to me. When I was younger, I didn't understand the concept of signs. I'm like, God is giving me a sign. What does that mean? And I spent a while wrestling with the concept of God and the cosmos and the universe in regards to just understanding how the world functions. And I've also spent a decent amount of time wrestling with having one foot in here, learning about worldly things, and one foot in the beyond, where I dive a little bit into philosophy. And I've been given messages in my life in moments where I felt like I needed it most. And it's strange because I was pulled towards these people. Either it's somebody that I met or it's somebody that I listened to on YouTube. And the messages were just so perfect. I never understood it. So if you're watching this video, I hope that you can take this with a grain of salt, man. If for some odd reason you hear this message and it just hits home, it might be for you. And of course, if not, then you can disregard. We have had an extremely difficult life. And I spent a long time dissecting that idea of why we suffer. And I came to the conclusion that suffering exists in desiring. Because when we desire, we see something that's unattainable. And you can be one of two people. Person one sees something that's unattainable and strives towards it, right? So it's desire, then goal, which fuels ambition, and so you grow. And on the other hand, you can see something that's unattainable, acknowledge that you don't currently have it, and that rips away from your soul. You feel like you're missing something, like you're lacking something. And throughout the course of the past, I'd say 5 years, because these 5 years have been some of the most transformative years of my life, I've gotten to a point where the desire for things stopped. And in those moments, I only made that decision because it was just so unattainable and it was so unavailable. Happiness was so unavailable. Tangible things like money was so unavailable. I just stopped caring and desiring it. And in letting go of that desire, it came. We have phases in life that prepares us for the ask. And that's something that I really want you to understand. Whatever it is that you want, whatever desire you have, there are phases for you to become someone that's worthy of such a great ask. If you want a certain amount of money, there are steps and there are things that you have to go through in life to obtain some type of knowledge, to experience certain things so that you can become someone that's a little bit more enhanced, so that you can be more worthy of it. Or at least you can be someone that doesn't screw up their life because of the ask. If you have desired a lot in your life and you've wanted to grow and you wanted to be an entrepreneur and you've wanted to make a difference and you just wanted to take care of your family, it's okay. I enjoy the symbology of a new year because it symbolizes growth and transformation. This is why people have New Year's resolutions. It's a moment for people to shift themselves from here to here. something inside of them, it starts turning. The gears start turning. And they start propelling. Sometimes at the start of a new year, people pick up new habits that inevitably transform their life if constantly repeated on a long enough time horizon. And I say all these things because if you've been somebody that has experienced a very difficult life and you've been in seasons of anguish and misery and defeat, that's the test. Remember that the test comes when you are just about to give up. Remember that in moments when you're just a hairline fracture away from just saying, I'm done, those are the moments that count. Because if you can push through, then you've proven yourself to be someone that's capable of surviving what's required so that whatever you desire can be given to you. Whatever you want in life, you're going to have. And I used to think that as humans, we're a pawn for God, or we're a pawn for the universe to use and dispose of, as though we're just little specks, which we are. But I've come to understand progressively that whatever energy that is, it lives through us. So our desires aren't necessarily worthless and meaningless, but there's a reason why we desire certain things. You're going to have a transformative moment, and you have to be aware of these moments. You're going to have moments in your life where you try and you fall. You're going to have moments where you're going to be tested, where you try again despite you failing. There are going to be moments where you win. What will you do with that victory? Are you going to take it and channel it into something that's progressive for just everybody, to where you can actually help? Or will you let that sweet taste of victory ruin you? There's a big difference from losing a few battles and losing the war. The war is never lost until your heart stops beating. You may lose a few battles. You may win a few battles in life. But for the most part, so long as you can draw breath, the war isn't over. If you've been having an urge to just isolate yourself, really just lock in, don't take that for granted and really acknowledge that. We have seasons in life. And if you feel this way, you're about to enter a season of growth, and you need to be ready. You need to be ready to sacrifice, to experience this tremendous growth. I promise you that the comfort that you feel, that you're so addicted to, will completely be outweighed by the addiction to growth. Because when you start snowballing and you build momentum and you can leverage the momentum and you gain skills and you start slowly integrating little habits that just create this huge momentous move, you transform into someone that's extremely capable of conquering anything. You don't need everything figured out. We're really tough on ourselves. We're our greatest critic, and we're our greatest coach. You have to understand that you have time. And so you need to use the one thing that's available to you, which is time. You have time to figure it out. If I asked you to get $1 million in a week, can you do it? Who knows? Probably not. If I said, can you become a millionaire in 20 years? Will you say yes? The likelihood is, yeah, I probably can. So it's not a matter of can I do it? It's your perception of this time horizon that it takes to achieve a certain goal is diluted, is distorted. That's why a lot of people give up. They start New Year's resolutions. And they're expecting, let's say getting in shape, and they're expecting an immediate result, 1 to 2 to 3 months, and they're completely changed. And they could just go right back to being how they were, acting how they were, behaving how they once were. But that's not the point of growth. The point of growth is to integrate micro habits. And in doing so, can you shift your paradigm? You take these micro habits, they become a part of you, and then you add more. You also replace. Don't focus on removing habits that you currently have, just replace. If I have a bad habit of eating chips, I'll replace it with eating fruit. If I have a bad habit of watching Netflix, I'll replace it with going on walks. If I have a bad habit of constantly watching videos and not really doing anything, I'll rather just take action. Don't focus so hard on eliminating and removing habits. For 2025, I want you to focus on integrating what you've already learned. I made a video in the past talking about how the constant pursuit of knowledge is the thing that's actually causing more damage to some people than good. Now, if you are snowballing and you know what's required to grow and you're doing that, then I'd say adding more knowledge and obtaining more information is great because you know the fundamentals of growth and transformation already. But if you still aren't snowballing, your life doesn't have to be figured out, but if you aren't snowballing, if it feels like it's so hard to be disciplined, if it seems like it's so hard to do certain things, you don't need to learn more. You know the basics, and the basics are stick to your word, get things done, have some time management, have some type of urgency, have a definite aim and goal, have a vision for your life, and figure out the steps to get there. And I promise you that next podcast you're going to watch is not going to be the reason you change your life. How you're going to change your life is by saying, today's the day where I'm just going to start doing. 2025 is going to be a miraculous year for you. But it's contingent on what are you willing to sacrifice. So many people want success. They want to be the best, but they can't even wake up an hour earlier. Let that sink in. We want to be great. We want to do great things. We want the money. We want all these tangible things, yet getting up 1 hour earlier seems to be impossible. We always see what we want and we see what other people have, but we never want what it took to get it. So basically what we're saying is, I want what you have without having to go through the tedious trials and tribulations and the immense amount of stress and suffering to achieve what you have. I just kind of want it given to me. Can you imagine at 18, 19, or perhaps if you watch my video and you're young, can you imagine at a young age if you were just handed $1 million? Where would you be? Who's to say you would be good? Would you have ruined yourself? It takes time to build wealth. It takes time to transform because it's not about achieving the goal. It's about you. Never ask, what do I have to do to get this? You have to shift it a little bit. Ask, who do I have to become? Not what do I have to do? So for example, what do I have to do to get in shape? Oh my gosh, the list is endless and you'll be bombarded with options. And that's why we get anxiety. And that's why we get into this little bubble where we don't take action because there's so many options, so many paths. And we're unsure of which one to walk because we fear that we'll walk the wrong path. But if you just say, well, instead of me focusing on what do I have to do to get in shape, and you start saying and asking yourself, who do I have to become to get in shape? Then the path, a lot of nonsense just gets discarded of. And you see, oh, well, if I want to get in shape, I probably have to be someone that allocates a little bit of time towards exercise, I have to be someone that consistently exercises. I have to be someone that can push myself physically. I might have to learn a little bit about anatomy and fitness. I might have to learn just a little bit about nutrition to get in shape. I might have to eat better. I might have to be someone that doesn't crave junk. And so when you can break it down into that level of understanding, you definitely see a path towards your goal. And it's a lot more clear than saying, well, maybe I should walk, maybe I should run, maybe I should power lift, maybe I should just do cardio, maybe I should go into the sauna, maybe I should do this. Yeah, maybe you can, and maybe you could do all of that. But you're probably not going to do any of it because there's 10 different paths and they all work and you can't do all of it at once. Stop diversifying. 2025, don't diversify. Choose one, go. I was just having a conversation with someone at the gym. He watches my videos and he came up to me. He's like, hey man, I watch your videos. And I said, yeah. I was like, nice to meet you, bro. He's a really cool dude. He says, I want to start a business. I said, okay. I said, what do you want to do? He's like, I'm not sure. I'm in school for business. I'm like, you'll learn more about business if you just start a business as opposed to going to school learning about business. I said, what do you do now? He's like, he's a professional fighter. And I said, so you want to fight professionally and you want to start a business at the same time? He's like, yeah. I said, well, just choose one. If you are a professional fighter, that means you have to train and you really have to diet and you have to make weight and you have to give your all towards fighting. If you want to start a business, you got to give your all towards that because the moment you diversify, both will die. Your business will die and your fighting career will just fall downwards. Don't overly complicate the simple things. The strategy towards success and just doing things that help you grow is simply focus on one thing and don't look away. Don't get turned to the left. Don't get turned to the right. Don't get distracted. Opportunities are going to come. They're going to seem so promising. But in those moments where you have opportunities and they seem so promising, you have to remind yourself that I just haven't stuck it through long enough to see the reward. If you're going to get in shape this year, stick it through long enough for you to start seeing progress. And when you progress, that in and of itself is the reward. That's what dopamine is. It's not the pursuit of happiness. Dopamine is happiness in the pursuit. You know exactly what you have to do to change your life. And it starts with just a few steps that you can definitely do. Maybe waking up early would be nice. Maybe having some time management would be nice. Maybe not easily getting distracted would be nice. If you want to learn about real estate, don't read about anything else but real estate. If you want to learn about business, consume business content and read. If you want to be a trainer, learn. If you want to be a fighter, then learn. Whatever you have to do in life, you have to learn. There's going to be 5 steps that you have to follow. Step 1, figure out what to do. Step 2, start obsessing and studying. Step 3, solitude. No distractions. No parties, no clubs, no friend gatherings, no campfires, nothing. Then you master it. And then you give it to the world. You have to follow these 5 steps in order. But step 1 is to figure out, what should I do? If there is a desire, you run with that. If you want to paint, you run with that. And if you have no idea what you want to do, then all you have to ask yourself is, what am I good at? Naturally. You can understand what you're good at naturally by recalling moments where people have complimented you on how you do something, and to you it was so natural. Oh, you're so good at talking, really? Oh, you're so good at reading, really? Oh, you're so good at making people feel good, really? Recall these moments and it'll be a light bulb moment in your head. You use that. you know? If you have something that you're good at, it's your gift. Practice it, get even better at it. If you're a great artist, then make art. If you're a great speaker, then speak. If you're a great friend, then find a way to be a great friend to many. How can you make content that helps many people the same way you help your circle? If you're strong, then how can you teach people to be strong? If you're skilled at negotiating, how can you teach people to be skilled at negotiating? How can you get better? Figure out what to do. Become a master. Isolate. You don't need distractions this year. I repeat, no distractions. And you may be on go the first week or two or the first month. That's not the work. Please remember that the work starts when that momentum and that motivation dies out and you wake up and you're like, again? I have to do this again? That's when the work begins. When it's fun and it's new and it's enticing and you're full of energy, that's not the work. You're going to be tested when there's no energy. You're going to be tested when you've done it for a month and you're like, well, damn, I still have to keep doing it? Yeah, see if you can do it for 6 months. See if you can do it for a year. What about 5? Wealth rewards those that can play the long game. Wealth rewards those that can be patient. That's the natural law. Life will reward you if you can be patient, if you can wait. Now, waiting and being patient doesn't mean you sit around and wait for something to just get handed to you. Being patient and waiting indicates I'm doing something in the meantime, and I'm definitely doing something that's going to get me one step closer towards that goal. Your fight isn't over. And don't mistake an end of a chapter for the end of the story. We turn the pages in a book. We read new things. The story isn't done. You still have an entire book to get through. That's the book of your life. That's the story of your life. This is a new chapter, and you get to write this chapter. If the previous chapter was heartache, trials and tribulations, pain, what will this chapter be? Will it be the comeback? Will it be the training chapter? Will it be the progression chapter? Is this a chapter where you slay the dragon? Or is this the chapter where you get defeated? What's the theme of this chapter? You get to choose that. You'd be surprised at how many controllables you have in your life if you can just say, what can I do with what I have? When I had no money, I had a house, I was like, well, I can live with my mother. And I used that. When I had no money, I said, I have time. And I can talk about my experiences. That's all I can do. It's just talk about my experiences. When I had no money, I had some type of skills. And I just used what I had. Always, always use what you have. You can't underestimate the amount of growth you can experience in 12 months. Don't underestimate that. I can guarantee you, if you build habits, if you keep it up every single day, and you don't have a day where you slip, you will build this momentum and you'll feel the momentum. What the momentum feels like is when you wake up, you're like, I can't wait to do it. It becomes easier. Waking up early is easier. Training is easier. Studying is easier. That's momentum. You need it because once you have that, you can leverage it. Now, achieving things and getting things done just become that much more simple. It requires little to no energy because you're rolling. The hardest part is to get to the point where you have momentum because up until that point, it's an upward fight. You're slamming the gas. We use anger sometimes. And I think it's a potent feel, but it's toxic if we use it for a long time. I used anger. I was angry at my circumstances. I was angry for a long time that people didn't believe in me, that I was mistreated. I was angry that the world treated me poorly. I was angry at my circumstances, and I used that for a long time. It was my propellant. After a while, it was toxic. It started hurting me, and I had to let go of this constant desire to use anger to get things done. And instead, I realized that when I built the momentum, I could let go of the anger. I'm like, I'm good. I could just wake up and do it now. I don't need to hold on to this anger. If you've been through pain, good. You're going to tell this story one day. If you had moments where you fell on your knees, tears falling down your face, and you were just crying out to whatever the heck is above you, and you needed some type of hope and you survived that, good. You're going to tell that story one day. You don't let go of those moments. Those are moments that you tell people. Tell your story to people that care to listen. Don't let any great story get left untold. We have one life. The whole point of life is to tell stories. All the books we have, all the pieces of information and knowledge we have, it's experiences and stories from other people that help us grow. This year is your magical year, if you truly believe it is. If you have the courage to start, the guts to keep going, you will go very far. Most people never even start. If you can start, you're better than 90% of people. And if you can keep going despite how terrible it feels, you'll be better than 95% of people. And when you can keep going long enough to see the reward, you have entered the 1% bracket. Change starts with us. And we have to get to a point where it's just so unbearable staying the same that change doesn't sound too bad. Lock in. Focus. No distraction, no clubs, no alcohol, no ladies. For all my ladies that watch me, no men. Lock in. Get in shape. Learn. Emotionally know yourself. Connect with something beyond. Discover meaning in your life. Have a clear vision of where you want to be. Be definitive and define that. Do not beg for that life. Say that this is what's to come, and I'll be damned if it doesn't happen, because I have a lot of controllables. You can look back and in 2026, you can say, wow, I didn't do anything. I haven't grown much. Or in 2026, you can say, how the heck did I get to this point? How far have I come? It starts with just doing one thing. Screw what people have to say. Screw what your city has to say, your friend and your families have to say. Screw it. You don't need to impress people that you don't want to be like in any way, shape, or form. You be the person that you want to be, and you do everything for the future version of you. You owe it to yourself. When you look in the mirror, you got to be able to say, you are one bad person. Way to go. Can't believe you made it through. You got this. Like you really do. You have no idea what you are capable of. Do not keep desiring to stay within this box. Push these boundaries and these limits that the world has enforced upon you. Push them. Push these limits. Redefine what it means to do unimaginable things. You will see what the heck you are capable of if you just challenge this box that you're in. If you say, let me see if I could break this barrier, you'll see that you can. You've been waiting for it. And I'm telling you, it's yours. That life you want, everything you want, I'm telling you here and now, it's yours. But you have to become someone that's worthy of that ask. It's who you become, not what you have to do. Who must you become? You know what to do. Don't let fear hold you back. It's a mile wide and an inch deep. It's unknown and it's unexplored territory and it's uncomfortable, which is all the more reason why you should dive headfirst. Don't let another year waste, because every day you're alive is another day closer to death. Don't end up on your deathbed, looking back at your life, wishing that you would have done something different. Don't do it. Don't end up in the grave with all your dreams washed away. There's enough of that. You don't need to add more to that pile. Take your dream, grip it, pull it into reality, and say, this is mine. And I'm going. For me. It's been hard enough. I can only imagine the world of pain that you've experienced. Change your life. And it's gonna start with telling yourself that. I am capable. You know why? Because you're not dead. If you weren't capable, you wouldn't have survived those hard times. But the fact is, you've made it past those moments. So you can take on a lot more pain. So fight the good fight. I'm rooting for you. I get it. Good luck. Remember that this year is your year. Kill it.